Jenna, it's now time for Mental Wellness Wednesday. Our friend Dr. Tracy Alloway is back. And today's theme, back to school and anxiety. A lot of kids have it going back to school. Yeah. There's a lot of change, a lot of new experiences. So what can you do to help them manage it? Well, you came up with an acronym. IMA, I-M-A.
Yes, that's right.
And this will help to kind of break it down and navigate.
I think so. So the first thing to remember is the I, the identify. We know that when we're feeling anxious, our brain releases adrenaline. So identify what is happening in your body with that excess adrenaline. Are you the kind of person that gets nervous and you start kind of bouncing? And if you're a parent, watch those cues in your child. Are they the kind of nervous where they start touching their hair a lot or scratching their head or even pulling their hair? So as a parent, be attentive to identify those cues that anxiety is starting to escalate in your child.
And if you do see those cues, you pick up on them, what would be the next step?
That's the second letter. M for move. And this is a great way to remember that adrenaline produces this nervous burst of energy. And, you know, anxiety can be a healthy thing. It tells us, it's like an alarm that, hey, something potentially negative is going to happen. But if in the same way that with our alarm clock in the morning, we have to turn it off, or it's going to keep nagging and affect us throughout the day. So helping your child come up with a physical way to get rid of that adrenaline, to deal with that anxiety is really important. It could be something simple like doing jumping jacks on the spot, running on the spot. Maybe take them outside and say you have 10 minutes, go hard, you know, go shoot the basketball as long as you can. But whatever it is, find a way that they can move to release some of that adrenaline.
You know, that's really interesting, and it makes a lot of sense because a lot of times when kids feel anxious, you're not sure what to do with them, but it's almost, you know, a homeopathic way of kind of figuring out a way to just move on, and it will kind of just resolve itself.
It is, and it's a much more effective way because you don't want to try to talk yourself out of that anxiety. That anxiety is existing for a reason, so shift it into getting rid of it instead.
Would you talk about it too and let them know, oh, you're probably just a little bit anxious, and just kind of explain to them why they're, you know, jittery or whatever it might be?
And I think that would be the third letter, the A, which is agency, is to help them understand that, first of all, as you said, Mark, it's common, it's natural to be anxious. It's a new situation, it's novel. Anxiety exists when there's uncertainty.
Sure.
Maybe a new school, a new teacher, certainly, maybe even new friends. But bring that back to the A, which is agency. Sometimes we think of what's in your control under agency. So help them identify, what can you do? Maybe they can alleviate some of that uncertainty by visiting the school ahead of time, going to orientation, maybe connecting with some of the parents so they meet their friends before school actually starts. You know, prepping, what can they do to feel that they are in control, they're agents in their own anxiety management.
And I ask you this all the time, and I think it's always great to bring back up again. At what point do you start to seek out professional help?
That's such a great question, and as a licensed psychologist, I hear this all the time from the parents. Should I be worried when my child starts doing this? And I think as a parent is knowing what your child's baseline is and noticing if there's big deviations from that. So if your child is usually outgoing, gregarious, loves school, and maybe after week one they're complaining of stomach aches or headaches, this is what's called psychosomatic experiences. So they're transferring their anxiety into something physical because perhaps they don't have the words to communicate, hey, I'm having a rough time at school, maybe I'm getting bullied, maybe I'm not getting along with my friends. And so they're using physical symptoms to communicate, or they're isolating. They're spending more time in their room, and that's not typical for them. As a parent, that would be a good cue to start a conversation with them and then maybe seek professional help as well.
Yeah, no, I think that is key. And a lot of times, and I'm sure you know this too, if you have multiple kids in your house, they all act so differently on how they just, you know, handle anxiety and stress. So I think communication is key and really getting the vibe. And like you said, you know your children. So as soon as they deviate from their normal behavior patterns, and then it's time to, you know, really focus and figure out what you could do as a parent for next steps. If people want to learn more about you and connect, how can they do that?
Yep, so I have a website, tracyalloway.com. I'm on social media, Dr. Tracy Alloway, and I'd love to connect.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stick around, more to come right after this.